What's going on, everyone? Carlos here, Carlos Gill TV. I'm out here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Just got done having dinner at a great restaurant called Tavern on France. I was talking with the bartender, and she could tell that I'm not from around here, and we started talking, and I told her that I'm from Florida. I just moved to St. Louis. I recently got to craft beers, and she decided, just really be nice and hook me up with a free beer. It was, end of the night. I appreciate stuff like that. And, real talk, I'm gonna go outside of the norm with the video blog, and from a business standpoint, how you should and how you should not be using social media. And I'm gonna come across like I'm venting. I went on Facebook a short while ago while I was sitting at the bar at this restaurant, and I wrote a pretty long rant. But I wanted to come back to the hotel and put a video together that those of you watching out there can at least use as somewhat of constructive feedback, or at least maybe you can provide your own feedback as well. So I sound like I'm rambling on and on and on. It's 11 o'clock over here in Minneapolis, so I'm just going to get right to it. I was on Twitter today, and this guy reaches out to me, and he follows me, which is pretty cool. And as soon as he followed me, he sent me a tweet, which is really what you should do after you follow someone, follow up with a tweet. But after I tweeted back to him saying, thank you for following me, he immediately goes into sales pitch mode. What's not cool about this is, think of Twitter as being a conference, but an online version. If you're at a conference with someone and you're at a networking event, it's normal to walk up to them and say, hey, I'm Bob Smith. How are you? This is the company I work for, and this is what I do. Now, if someone doesn't ask you, well, tell me more about your company, you're not going to just go into sales mode and start pitching everything that you do and sell how great your company is and how great your product is. You're just not going to do it. So what this guy did was, immediately after he sends me the first tweet and I tweet back to him, he goes into full-blown sales mode. He asked me if I've ever heard of his company before, which I told him I had. I didn't know much about the company, but I had at least heard of the name. And as soon as I said I'd heard about the company, but I was curious to know what they do, he then literally sends me a barrage of direct messages. Again, full-blown sales mode, not really focusing on building the relationship or getting to uncover any of my potential needs, not trying to set up a meeting whatsoever. It was just boom, full-blown sales mode. I then was kind of put off by the fact that not only is he hard selling to me through a direct message, but why aren't we having a conversation over tweets like we initially started having? So I in turn go back on the public Twitter feed and ask him, tagging his company, how do they compare to other competitors in their space? And I start tagging these other brands or these other products, let's just call them vendors, if you will, or products. I tag these other guys asking them, how does his product compare to theirs? And I also let him know, as a hint, if you will, that I prefer to do business with people that I like doing business with first, to go ahead and let this guy know that relationships matter. So one thing that I always say in social media is social media is not about selling, it's about relationship building. And for those of you out there that know me or have followed me for quite some time, you'll know the mantra I live by is you use social media to go ahead and, for one, connect, engage through dialogue and conversation, provide and offer value to that relationship without any expectation of monetary return or compensation, and you repeat that over and over again. I've done business, I've made a lot of money through relationships that have started through social media, but I've never once approached someone, connected with them at least, and immediately approached them to close a sale. It's just something you don't do. And again, it's no different. Online social media sales, or social selling, if you will, it's no different than face-to-face sales. In a face-to-face environment, you're most likely not going to meet someone for the first time, and within 1 to 2 minutes of meeting them, immediately go into full-blown sales pitch mode. You're just not going to do it. And if you do, you're a bad salesman. But that's what this guy did, and it really irked me. It rubbed me the wrong way. It honestly, it pissed me off, and it ruined the rest of my day. And I started thinking about this more and more as I was sitting at that bar at dinner, and going on this rant on Facebook, what better way to go ahead and turn this negative into a positive than by creating this video, sharing it with my network out there, and say, don't be that sales guy. Social media is a great resource, great tool to go ahead and connect you with essentially whoever you want to do business with in corporate America. But with that being said, there's also ways that you go about, or that you should go about, engaging on social media. It's not all about sales. Social media is not a tool to sell. It's a tool to build relationships. And I can tell you from my experience out there working on the brand side and dealing with vendors and people that try to sell to me or have successfully sold to me before, relationships is what matters. When you formulate a relationship with someone, through the time that you engage with them, you're going to uncover needs naturally. You are going to make that person feel comfortable with you, that then in turn they're going to say, hey, tell me more about your product. And it can happen on the golf course. It can happen at a hotel lobby bar at a conference. It can happen in a variety of manners. It can even happen through just calling someone, tweeting back and forth with them over whatever. But it doesn't happen on the first attempt. And for those of you out there in sales that want to kind of understand the concept more of using social media or just how to be a more effective salesperson, I definitely encourage you to pick up a book by Gary Vaynerchuk. It's called Jab, 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 Right Hook, Right Hook. Great book, great philosophy. You have to go ahead and take several jabs before you really go for the kill. And what that means is you have to take several steps. You have to formulate your approach as such that you are really offering value to a relationship. You're focusing on building a relationship more so than you are just focusing on the sale. Because at the end of the day, anyone can sell a product. I can take this bottle of Fiji water and I can convince you that this is the best water known to man. And you know what? I can also put down this water. I can peel off the label so it's not Fiji anymore. And I can still do the same thing, but I can sell you on me and the value that I bring to this relationship right here and say, you know what? Right now it's 11:30 at night in Minneapolis and I'm awake talking to you out there because I really want to help you out. Hey, why don't you just take a look at this water that I've got and let me know what you think about it? Completely different approach than, hey, you really need to buy this bottle of water for $4.99 here at the Marriott because it's Fiji water and it's a really good brand. So what I want to kind of say in closing to everyone out there is your product should sell itself. Think of your product as a Cadillac. If you go to a dealership, you don't need a salesman to really oversell a Cadillac. A Cadillac sells itself. A Lexus sells itself. A Mercedes is a Mercedes. Think of your product as that Cadillac. Don't be the pushy sales guy that is trying to leverage social media just to get your product out there. Because I will say this, friends, you're probably not always going to be working for the company you work for today. So don't let the reputation that precedes you be, oh, that guy that hit me up with a very cold sales call on Twitter or on Facebook, and now he's working at this other company, and let me avoid him in that company because I really don't want to do business with him. Again, it goes back to relationships. So your reputation does precede you. Don't be a bad representation to the brand that employs you. Always offer value in relationships. And if you do that with no expectation of monetary return or compensation, you are going to go ahead and see that your relationships around you are going to flourish. People are going to want to come to you. Can't tell you how many times I have gone to that salesperson and said, tell me more about your product. Because at the end of the day, I like you and I want to do business with you. And it's more about that relationship than it is the product at the end of the day. So I hope for someone watching this video, I hope this, for someone out there watching this video, I hope I am able to make a connection with you. I hope this makes sense. If I'm rambling, I apologize. I need to get some sleep now. So thanks a lot for watching. And let me know in the comments below what you think. And let's connect on Twitter at CarlosGill83. Peace.